What is absolutely true is that since January of this year, you've changed your modus operandi, you've changed your algorithms, and it has led directly to a very substantial drop in views and engagements for those that have got right of centre political opinions. The facts are very clear. Just look at President Trump's numbers on a much smaller scale. Look at mine. Look at thousands of other conservative commentators. And on average, we're down about 25% over the course of this year. And, you know, that's happening on a platform for all ideas. I'm not talking here, Mr. Zuckerberg, about extremism. I'm not talking about encouraging violence. I'm not talking about hatred of anybody. I'm talking about people who have majority mainstream opinions. What interests me is who decides what is acceptable? Who are these people you referred to earlier, these third-party fact-checkers? Who are these people? I mean, why is there no transparency in this process at all? I'm not generally somebody that calls for legislation on the international stage, but I'm beginning to wonder whether we need a social media Bill of Rights to basically protect free speech. And I'm asking you today very, very clearly that would you accept that today Facebook is not a platform for all ideas that is operated impartially?
Finally, somebody is making headway. Well, Lisa Haven here, and what you just saw in that video clip was Nigel Farage, the guy who conducted and single-handedly conducted the British exit, Brexit, getting the British out of the European Union. Yeah, that guy is now standing up at the European Parliament against tyrannical companies and organizations such as Facebook, such as Twitter, such as Google. And in this instance, what you saw, he called Facebook out and said, "Mark Zuckerberg, you liberal idiot. If I'm going to just put it in my own words, you are censoring anyone who is against your political view. What do you have to say for yourself?" And Zuckerberg, in a nutshell, well, he'll answer that at a later date. That was his summation. And, well, I'll make it more family-oriented, but truth is, he is censoring conservative voices. And what Nigel Farage shared is that there is a 25% decline in conservative voices. Well, let me tell you a fact. Back about 2 or 3 years ago, when I would share stories on Facebook on the groups, they would get over 400,000 clicks an article. Today, because of the shadow banning and the hiding, it's now under 100,000 clicks per article. That is a 3/4 decline. That's a huge chunk. That's just my personal experience. But Nigel Farage has also experienced this. If you are a conservative or a libertarian or patriot or somebody who believes in the Second Amendment, say you're far from right, not extremism at any cause. You're not an extremist. But just because of that, people at Facebook and Twitter and even Google are censoring and what you say and do and shadow banning everything. And that's your proof right there. Diamond and Silk have already taken the platform and done similar to what Nigel Farage has done. Well, as a result of that, some headway is being made in not only the European Union, but also in America. But let's go first to the EU. On this report put out by CNET.com titled "What the GDPR Means for Facebook, the European Union and You." This was put out May 24th. But the article defines that the EU has a new law on the books for protecting data privacy. It's the General Data Protection Regulation, more commonly called GDPR. This Friday, it goes into effect in the EU's 28 member states. The law changes the rules for companies that collect, store, or process large amounts of information on residents of the EU, requiring more openness about what data they have and who they share it with. That means companies like Facebook. It goes on, it also means that any company with a digital presence in the EU, which for the time being still includes UK, will have to comply with the law or face steep penalties. So here we have a little law making headway against those companies, but we also need to remember who those companies are sharing with, like the deep state here in America, who goes against your rules, your laws and regulations, and the NSA and the CIA and all these different departments are collecting our data. Edward Snowden told us about this. William Benny told us about this. So many CIA leakers came out and exposed this corruption to you. Well, now Let's make steps and progress to stop it once and for all. Stop the censorship here on Google. Stop the censorship on so many platforms. For now, let me give you another example. I'll Google a simple article, and all you see is negative, negative, negative on Trump or negative against conservatives. Never is it the actual thing of what happened or the view of what's going on. Sites like my channel, like InfoWars, like Hagman Report have all been pushed to the bottom of the pile. No more. And here's a great news story for you is that Donald Trump is finally taking action. I was beginning to worry that he wasn't doing anything, but now he all of a sudden has action. Check out on Brad Parscale's Twitter page. He put this out just the other day. He says, Brad Parscale, if you don't know who he is Trump's 2020 campaign manager. But he tweeted out on his Twitter page a letter that Trump administration sent to Facebook and Twitter with the words at the top, "We won't tolerate bias toward conservatives or towards Donald Trump supporters. We're standing up for you and demanding answers. GOP chairwoman and I have sent the following letter to Zuckerberg and Twitter's Jack Dorsey. Stop the bias. Hashtag stop the bias." Now, what's inside the letter? This is going to get a bit tedious, but I think it's important for me to read it to you, and I'm not going to get in all of it, but I think the content of what it has to say is a bombshell. Well, here's what the letter had to say. First, they said they're writing on behalf of the RNC and Trump's campaign to request information on Facebook and Twitter to prevent political bias on social media platforms. It goes on. Concerns have been raised in recent years about suppression of conservative speech on Facebook and Twitter, including censorship of conservative news stories from news feeds and trending news section. We are alarmed by the numerous allegations that Facebook has blocked content from conservative journalists and groups, and Twitter has hidden that content from conservative users. Please, Mr. Trump, include Google. Going on, and in 2016, and YouTube, who keeps removing people's videos. In 2016, former Facebook workers reported that they manipulated the trending section to execute news tailored to conservative users. Despite those topics trending on their own, a former trending news curator admitted in an interview that nearly all members of the trending news teams identified as liberal and had the authority to approve topics. Moreover, some Facebook employees in 26 reportedly pushed to ban the candidates of Trump Facebook post and labeled them as hate speech simply because they were a Trump supporter. It goes on. Skipping to the second page, actually, we recognize that Facebook and Twitter operate in liberal corporate cultures. So does Google. However, rampant political bias is inappropriate for a widely used public forum. What's more, the consequences to our democratic society are profound. This is why special attention is necessary to address issues such as Facebook's use of liberal organizations to fact-check content. We're talking about Southern Poverty Law Center. We're talking about Snopes. These are the people that are monitoring what goes on in Facebook, and they are anti-conservative. They are anti-libertarian. They are anti-gun. They are anti our First Amendment. This is who Facebook uses. It goes on to say the access to user profiles that gives some employees and Twitter manipulation of content that appraise for the site users. Since Facebook and Twitter are platforms used widely by the majority of voters, we request an explanation about how you will ensure all content is managed equally and fairly. How will you safeguard voters' access to fair content on your platform? How will you guarantee that conservative voices are no longer censored and conservative news no longer buried and hidden? As you conduct reviews to assess bias against conservative content, we ask for your assurance that transparency, neutrality, and protection of all speech be the core tenets of Facebook and Twitter. And we look forward to your response on June 18th of this year. Facebook, you got some splaining to do, as well as Twitter. Right now, I just got out of Facebook jail for the 100th time. It doesn't matter how less or little or often I share. And as I said in the beginning of this video, Facebook has literally shadow banned my post, pushed to the bottom of the barrel by 3/4 censorship of shadow banning. Those who follow me on Facebook know very well that I'm censored pretty much on a daily basis from sharing any of my content in groups. I can comment on my own page, on my own feed, but I can't even go into groups and share some of the information that I have. And same is happening on platforms like YouTube. Another YouTube fell out recently and censored without 1, 2, or 3 strikes. No, 1 strike now and you're out. If you're conservative, libertarian, anti-New World Order, then you're immediately on the list and you're immediately censored. 1 strike, you're gone. They've already taken out quite a few channels, some of which they have yet to give back. And it terrifies me that all of this is being allowed. I say no more. Want to fight it? Talk to your congressmen and senators. Want to fight it? Start subscribing to those YouTube channels. Hit the subscribe button on my channel. They constantly wipe you from my feed. Make sure your notifications are coming through. Click the notification button. But subscribe to the channel. Open a YouTube account. Subscribe to the channel so you can follow the channels that you like. And subscribe to my backup channel, Lisa Haven Vlogs. In the event that they take mine out, I also have lisahaven.news that you can put your email on there, and I promise to keep you up to date if something happens to my channel. And I'm going to stand against this thick and thin. When headway is being made, I'm going to share it with you. Organizations like the World Economic Forum are going on public platforms that they have as saying, we need to battle fake news. I've showed many clips of World Economic Forum here on my channel. Well, what is fake news according to the World Economic Forum? What is it? Who gets the say in that? They do. And who is it them? Anyone who is against the New World Order is the enemy. That's according to World Economic Forum, a United Nations world globalist organization who doesn't care about your sovereignty or your rights. They may say they do, but it is in fact the opposite. Well, I don't want to keep you too long, but please don't forget to also help support my channel. I've got a Patreon account. You can also do that by supporting my sponsors, Noble Gold Investment. You know I'm a very big proponent on storing gold, silver, and precious metals, so please also check them out. And please subscribe to the channel and share it far and wide. Well, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.